Now I'm going to call this meeting to order. And our first order of business is to welcome Jerelyn Wilson to the board. And second one is to review and approve the minutes of our March 4th meeting.
Move we approve the minutes for March 4th.
I'd second that.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, there grew a darn.
Jerelyn, did you abstain?
Well, I need to abstain?
Yes,
I was not
you
at
weren't
the meeting,
here.
so I
Yeah.
abstain.
Yeah.
Yes.
We knew that. All right, moving on, we have bills for payment. We have warrant 19, 19P, and then we have number 6 from the Conservation Commission.
Move approval of warrants 19, 19P, and number 6 from the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so they're little plastic tabs, and there'll be 3 places for you to sign. Well, we have Mary Lou Schmidt here as one of the Board of Trustees for the Prospect Hill pasture. And you've got some things.
Did you get a cover letter from me?
Yes.
And have you all had a chance to read it?
Yep.
So you know the background of why I'm here?
Right. I think we might have to recess as a select board and then reconvene as
yes.
Prospect Hill trustees. So we're all in the same.
Actually, we're out of trustees, except for the 5 of you and Elizabeth, Catlin, and myself.
Yes.
Can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
I'll move that we, let's see, how do I want to word this?
Lois was so good at this.
Yes, I'm missing. That we postpone, no, not postpone.
Recess?
Recess our select board meeting and go into Prospect trustees.
And
Board meeting and
reconvene.
reconvene.
Yes.
Okay, a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So here we are as
Thank you,
the
Mary Lou.
Prospect
Now
Hill trustees.
I won't repeat it. You know what the cover letter says in terms of really needing to balance out the board now, since there's only Elizabeth and myself as members at large. And what I tried to do in terms of looking at people and what Miss Bradley had in mind was to balance the board. So we needed basically 2 more people to fill those slots. And I had suggested in the letter that we have Ed Anthes, and I thought of him because he's a connection with the Conservation Commission, and the Conservation Commission sort of oversees Prospect Hill and is sort of monitoring it and keeping it up to date and letting all of us know what needs to be done. And the other person that I thought of was Jerelyn Wilson. She had talked to me about 10 years ago and said that she had a great deal of interest in Prospect Hill and would like to be considered if she was ever needed to be helpful in that. And so I called both Ed and Cheryl, and they're both willing to serve as trustees. And so I would like to recommend them to do that. And I guess I need input from you folks.
Being an old hockey player, I like, having, the advantage in numbers, but I think you're reading through the deed, the original deed. It seems like her intention was to have even Steven, select board and
Right.
trustees. So I think that you have a good plan. And the other thing that I noticed in reading through it was that the trustees appoint, much like in North Korea, the trustees appoint their successors. I think you're following everything like it should be done.
Okay.
So, that's my reading of it. What do you think?
I concur.
Do you have a fifth recommendation for a trustee that's not a select board member?
The two that I'm recommending are to fill the 2 vacancies.
Oh, 2 vacancies. I
Yeah.
see.
Right.
Okay.
Because 2 of the former trustees, one passed away years ago, and Garvin, as we all know, moved out of town almost years ago. So we have these 2 vacancies to be
Okay.
filled. And I felt that before, things are going to be coming up very shortly, I think, in the next several months from the Conservation Commission. And I think we should have a full slate of trustees to go forward.
Is Sam still a trustee? Wasn't
Well,
Sam a
that's my
trustee
next
from-
thing. Since I wrote the cover letter and since I had those 2 people in mind, I got to thinking since then that Sam has not been well at all. And during the time he's been a trustee, we've only had 2 meetings, one of which he attended. So what I did recently was to call Jincy, at least she answered the phone, and I explained the situation to her and asked her if she would ask Sam, which she did immediately. Ask Sam, and Sam said no, he wasn't really up to that and he would resign. So with that in mind, I went one step further, and I thought of Betsy Whitaker, who before retirement was an educator, specifically of elementary kids, and I thought she would be the ideal person to have to fill in that void that we're missing for education of the the natural setting of Prospect Hill, and how she could maybe have workshops with kids or whatever and carry on what she was always doing at the school. And I contacted Betsy, and she said yes, she would be willing to serve.
And that's okay with Sam, because with Sam Bunker.
Oh, yeah.
He
Well, I
concurs with
didn't
your
run it
choice.
by Sam, but I don't know whether he's a bed or not, but
Okay.
from what Jincy said, he would be resigning.
Okay.
So that would bring our slots all up and make us even Steven.
Okay.
So I guess, according to the deed, then this isn't something where, like with our other situations where we've asked other people in town if they're interested, they kind of fill their own spot. That's it.
Yes, this is unusual.
Different from what we
Yeah,
normally do.
yeah.
But I
In
think-
that they.
I think the trustees are somewhat different than filling slots on town boards.
Yeah, so it is unusual.
So
Yep.
if you approve of those people, I would be willing to contact them and so that they know that they've been appointed to be on the board.
Okay. Well, we could have a motion if, for those 3 individuals to appoint them.
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion?
I guess my only concern is there might be other people that are interested. In fact, I know there might be other people that are interested, but we kind of, because of how the deed is written,
Yeah.
they don't have a
Right. This is
chance to come
yes. This
forward.
is
Okay.
no. It's
Okay.
very much like North Korea, where we've been trying to operate more like, a Western democracy in Dummerston.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay.
throwback to
Okay.
a different form of governance,
Okay.
and that's as close. Hopefully, they'll be a little bit more benevolent than North Korean government. But so we've got a motion. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will follow through.
You-
Now, I've got one more
you-
thing
are
to
you
bring up
going
about
to vote, or are you
Prospect Hill,
going to
which I
abs-
think we all need to be thinking about, and I will also run it by the new appointees. But we have a real problem with the right-of-way, and always have had a problem with it. The right-of-way used to, as I said in the packet that I gave you, used to run directly in front of what used to be Bill McKee's house. Subsequently, right after the town took over Prospect Hill, through Garvin and actually the nephew, the right-of-way was moved from directly in front of her house down to the end of the field at the front of her house, so it didn't go right in front of there. But it's still not a very passable right-of-way. Years and years ago, I got to go up there with Cliff Emery in his Jeep. Now, obviously, I haven't been on Prospect Hill for 20 years, but I remember, I can visualize what it looks like, so I can tell you that road, or the way to get up there, was not very good then. And this is that many years later, we're talking 30 or 40 years later, and even for hiking, it's very difficult. And the right-of-way, the way that people used to go, which was not legal, was off of East-West Road up through Frank Hickens' land, which is now Debbie Hickens. And that is a no-no. She does not want people going that way, and I think we've tried very hard to not let that happen. The other way to go was the land that abuts Prospect Hill at one point was Sam Bunker's, and that's why he got on as a trustee at that time. He subsequently sold that to Margaret Everett, and Margaret's not too keen on having people cross her land, which I can understand too. So, and the coming up from the west side was researched a number of years ago by Roger Haydock, and he said that just is not a passable way to get up that way. And so we've got two options at this point: Margaret Everett's, Debbie Hickens. So what the Conservation Commission wants to do, about a third of the land of the Prospect Hill is now covered with a really hardy growth of invasives, and they need to be taken care of if that area is going to be used. The problem is they're so far advanced now, and they're going to get worse before they get better. You got to have equipment to do that. You got to take equipment, and there's no right of way to do that. I think what we need to do as the trustees that are here is call a full meeting of trustees, and I will alert the new folks as to the problem. And I think we need to discuss what we're going to do about getting a proper right of way. There is no, in my mind, and I think like Lewis, I guess, and Zeke, and the rest of you, that there's no point in spending money to take care of the invasives if there's no way to get there from here. And that's a good old Vermont saying, you just don't get there from here. So I think we need to think about whether or not we're going to have a right-of-way that's usable, and that once the invasives are gone, people can have a decent trail to get up there and use it. If you can't use it, why are we doing this? So I think we all need to think about the best ways to do this right-of-way thing. I think Steve has a good relationship with Margaret, and perhaps he can talk to her and get her thoughts on what might be done. I think somehow or another, some of us had to talk to maybe Debbie Hicken and see what she would be willing to do, if anything. And I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that either one of them are going to want to do anything. But before we spend money doing the invasive thing, there's no point in having the Conservation Commission come talk about that until we've got our ducks in order. So that's where I'm coming from now.
Yes.
I would be willing to recuse myself from this discussion, but this, of course, isn't select board. This is something different.
But as a trustee, you might have to.
So I will recuse because I would like to put a price in to mow and maintain that and have the equipment that can get up through there, and probably the permission to do so. So if you'd like me to recuse myself, I will, or I can sit in on the discussion, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
I think that would be premature, Steve, because we're not
Yeah.
talking about.
Okay,
you know,
I just want to disclose that, that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I appreciate
I
that.
don't,
Yeah.
But I think I need to tell the Conservation Commission that just sit tight until the trustees make decisions on what they're going to do about a right-of-way. There's no point in getting a temporary one to get equipment up there. We need to have a permanent one that makes it available for hikers that want to use that. And so I think we need to call a full trustees meeting so we have all of us participating.
Yes.
And so when you're saying the full trustees, is
That would
that
be
those
the-
5 people plus the 5 select
Yes.
board
Yes.
Yeah,
members?
Yeah.
So it's 10 people?
yeah.
Okay.
And, I mean, we're not a full group of trustees. We shouldn't be making a decision tonight.
Okay.
I think we have to have the other 3 people in the act too, so that we get as many ideas and thoughts on the table as we can. And it may be, now, there is a fund, and I should clear this up too. Edith Bradley originally left an endowment of $2,000 to monitor this. Back in 40 years ago, that was fine. It doesn't go far today. But in the meantime, when Esme Westwood passed away, she added to that a $5,000. And that was at a time when interest rates were going great guns. So the Prospect Hill Fund is now shy of $14,000, I think. That's not going to buy a lot of things, but it'll do some. So there may have to be fundraising done for this or whatever is decided. And I just think I needed to run that by you too, so you know. And I know after town meeting, the town's not going to spring for anything. So I think we need to think about other thoughts too to get this job done. But it's a wonderful site up there, and if you haven't been up there, you should go up there when it's cleared properly, 360-degree view all the way around. It's beautiful. So, my story for tonight. If you have any questions, I will.
What was Hickens' issue, or because that was being used quite often before to get up that access?
Yeah,
What
that's, in
happened
fact, when I went up, other than with Cliff and his Jeep, I've gone up off of East-West Road, and it was just hiking up through at the edge of the field, crossing over the fence row, and then as soon as you cross over the fence row, you were right on a path that wound its way right up to the top. And I think they got tired of people hiking through there. I don't know whether it was a trash problem, maybe down where the parking was. That could be, because we used to have that at our place, and that could have been part of the problem. And so I don't know, as far as I know, nobody's approached Debbie, and whether there's a possibility there, I don't know, but maybe the trustees can all make a decision and see if there's any of the new folks that would be interested in talking with her to see what could be done, or so that's where I stand at this point. So if anybody if you have any ideas on when a full trustee meeting could take place, that would be helpful, because I can pass that along right away too.
Sure. If you want to be, if you'll notify these people that they've been appointed this evening, and then check with them on dates that will work for them if we just meet at a regular select board
would
meeting.
it be in at a selectman's?
Well, what
Prior
do you
to,
think?
wouldn't it
Prior
be?
to?
It'd be nice if we could do it at 5 o'clock prior to a select board meeting, so we don't tie up another evening.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why don't you're the 5 affected, the other 3 can come along.
Right. We have April 1st, we're going to do some interviews for DRB and I think Conservation Commission. So,
Can you have a different night maybe?
yeah.
Then, because you're only every other week
Right,
anyway, aren't
right,
you?
right.
Could it be on an alternate week?
Well, we have to that's going to be on a little later. We need a meeting for our goals meeting, so that's sort of important that we get that done. How about the 15th? Does that?
Tax day, yeah.
Now, the
that's-
15th is when you're having a special town meeting, right?
Yes, it's 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I think that will last all of 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, I know, right. And that might
If
be
we try to
appropriate,
drag it out a
because you'll be
little
out
to make-
anyway.
Yeah. So if we
We'd probably do this at 5 o'clock anyway, wouldn't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
give
Yeah,
it
prior
some
to the
time,
meeting, too.
Do-
What time are we talking?
5 o'clock?
5?
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
anticipate it would take an hour, or do you think a half hour would be sufficient
For
for that
For the
discussion?
trustees?
Yes.
About the-
I doubt it.
Do you think an hour would be enough or not enough?
Well, it depends. You're gonna be dealing with 10 people and hopefully
Mhm.
they'll come with some ideas. So you
Well-
don't know, this is a tricky issue.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing is I would like to have time to, I haven't ever been up Prospect Hill,
Mhm.
so
It doesn't
I'm sorry to
snow
say that I
Yeah,
haven't ever
yeah.
been up, but I would like to be able to see it. So I'd be willing to take a hike up there with somebody that you would suggest. And then I was wondering what kind of preparatory work could be done so that it was a really good use of those 10 people's time. I mean, if we had I mean, you've laid this out really clearly now, but what are the things what would be the best outcome of that meeting? And then thinking about, well, what information would we need in order to be able to have the discussion that was necessary to have that outcome?
So,
So
do you have any thoughts on that,
pre-thought.
Steve, since you know Margaret? In terms of how you would approach the situation?
It's a long ways if we go around by Margaret's. It's
So
a lot
Debbie's would be
shorter
the
if we
best
can go up
way.
by Hickens. On Hickens, up by the top of the hill. It's a lot shorter route if you're having to purchase a right of way. The Snowmobile Club has a trail basically all the way around, almost to where you finally walk up to the summit.
From
From right here in Margaret's Field. So there's a pretty good walking trail if you utilize the Snowmobile Club trail, but that is on Margaret's. And as far as what we could accomplish at the next meeting, I would think we'd want to just get together and see what the group would think about how we would approach a right-of-way and who we'd want to talk to. You couldn't do much preparatory work probably till we discuss how we want to try to get there and who we want to approach. But
Are there maps?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that you
yeah.
can see,
So
Right.
maybe Lori can have some maps for us.
The Dummerston, is it the Conservation Commission that has a trail map already
Yeah,
of
that's
the
true.
walking trail? The walking trail, they don't seem to work very well together, the Snowmobile Club and the walking trail, but there's actually two trails. There's a walking trail that's marked and a snowmobile trail. And snowmobile trail is pretty easy trail to walk up. But,
So,
Lee, yeah?
I was just wondering, now, are they looking for, I think, are they looking for the walking trail, I didn't think was that bad, besides needing a bridge down or something to get across the wet area by.
We actually put a bridge in there
Oh,
a few
did you?
years ago.
All
Yeah.
right. And are you looking for maybe just a temporary, once a year, drive a excavator, tractor, something like that up there? That's the only real right-of-way you would actually have to purchase, right? Once a year to control the evasives. And I think you might find, and I've only talked to her about trees along the town road from here to Black Mountain Road, but that's something that they might be more receptive to, mostly if you were willing to put up signs afterwards or do it during the real dry time that you aren't going to rut anything up.
Well, isn't the problem though, Lee, that they don't want anybody walking, or they don't want people hiking
Right,
up
and
there?
I don't think, yes, right. I don't think they want a full-time trail up through there. But I'm
Right.
saying once a year, they might allow it for,
Maintenance.
maintenance or, even if they have to, some compensation for using it.
Well, it sounds like the trustees want something permanent though, for public access, isn't that right?
Right, and I don't know,
Yeah.
do you really need it with that other trail going up through there? That's what, I guess my question was.
so that's something that trustees can decide at the meeting, what's needed and for how long. Now, you asked a pertinent question about is a half hour long enough? Now, we've just spent a half an hour now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see you get 3 more people involved and you'll have
Yep.
So we're talking 45 minutes, I think, to an hour.
And by then, I would think people would maybe be able to be assigned some things to research, and probably it would lead to a follow-up meeting, not
That'd be
too
a
far
good
after,
idea.
but
Sure.
at that length of time, we should be able to assign some responsibilities.
Right.
That is an important point that was brought up just now, though, that the right-of-way, you said there's no reason to talk about taking care of the invasives until we figure out the right-of-way. But if the right-of-way is just for the one time a year, and then it's separated from the trail.
But there isn't any good walking trail, that's the
Right,
problem.
but they could be two separate things.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm not saying that's a good plan, but it's an interesting option to consider.
The present walking trail, as I understand it, has deteriorated quite a bit. And if you get even more people using it, which is we hope would be the case, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
You need to get that snowmobile club and walking group together, because the
Yeah.
snowmobile trail is a pretty good trail.
Oh, okay.
I've tried getting John to work with them, and they just seem to be oil and water, so.
So that's
It's very unfortunate, because the snowmobile
as
trail
long
is
as
a very
it
good
doesn't get
trail.
ruined for the snowmobiles.
That's a
Yeah.
really good trail that they have established.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that on the 15th. And then
You could get a small piece of equipment up the snowmobile trail at this point.
Okay.
Not a big tractor and a boom mower, but certainly a small, like Lee's talking about, a small excavator.
Well, we just want to get the horse in front of the cart, not behind.
Right, exactly, right, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for
everyone.
coming.
Thank you.
I guess I would make a motion that we recess the meeting of the Prospect Hill Pasture Trustees and reconvene as a select board.
Second. Geez, you did that magnificently, Joe.
Yeah, we might as well go into the liquor.
I had
We're on the
a good
roll.
mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay,
back to
so-
being select board members here. So I think we would be able to find maps of the areas here. And
That would be helpful.
Yeah, Charlotte and Lori Frechette, two of our best cartographers here.
Well, actually, the Conservation Commission has a great map of their trail,
Right.
and I think the Snowmobile Club has a detail of their trail.
So we
You have
can
to get a hold of
overlay
Ed
the
Dews.
two of them.
You have to get a hold of Ed Dews probably for that.
Let me know when you're going to go off, maybe I'll go with you.
Okay,
If you
yeah.
use the snowmobile trail, it's a nice walk even then, because it's packed pretty well.
Can you go up on a snowmobile?
You can get pretty near the top on the snowmobile, yeah. Yeah, you can't get up the very last. They
I've
didn't
never
want-
ridden on a
They didn't want snowmobiles
snowmobile.
up on top, so they don't let them go up there. But I'm not sure who, but somebody said no, the snowmobile's going up top, so it turns. What, the last 150 feet or something, or 200 feet, you have to walk up here. And it is a great site. There's a lot of work that could be done up there. Well, we ought to get out of that discussion.
Here comes the maps.
Probably ski it, right?
What side dish you want to see?
Okay. Right, well, we could, we have had those road trips, the select board taking the road trips to, we could warn a hike.
A walking trip.
Yes, we could have our next meeting up there. But you'd be willing to come, right?
I've been up there.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it is pretty nice.
Well, let's go on to the highway report. If there's no other public comments? No, okay. Well, Lee Chamberlain, what do we have? You're probably anxious to open these truck bids.
I don't know. All right. Lori gave me this thing, so.
Right. Just don't lose your, yeah, very
Right.
good.
This might take a minute. Someone else wants.
Sure, I'll,
All right, so
Suspense
this
is
is
killing me.
Yeah, McDivitt Trucks. That's a Mack truck. And what we do is just open them, kind of read off what they are, and then in 2 weeks, we'll take and go over them, kind of figure out, if we miss something, warranties, those kind of things, and then decide which truck fits the body the best, and then bring it back to, like, vote on it for next meeting.
Thank you.
So,
We'll actually put together a spreadsheet.
Right.
Comparing all of them and email it.
because as you can see, I can't even find out where they put the price.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
And is it listed somewhere what's needed?
Yes.
They got the
There's a bid
specs already.
sheet.
Yeah, they got a specification sheet.
No, this is just the body, I think, right?
Yeah, if you can find the prices on
No, I got the, but nothing on the truck, this is just the body.
Oh, this is
some
some
give up
numbers
here a
here.
minute. Not something else.
Serious stuff.
Want me to look while you keep opening?
Okay, here.
Sure.
That's good information.
All right, this is the Western Star out of L&B, 112,829, and the trade is 25,000. You want me to list off all the warranties or not? No. All right.
We have to keep ratings in mind.
And they don't actually, yeah, I know. They don't actually have a final price because of the, what warranties and what options we'd like with it. That's the Western Star.
Okay, I can tell you now, Viking, or Clive's Corporation, the Alto,
This is the body,
Truck
and seam
body.
and all that, yeah.
yeah, and HP Fairfield, they are pretty close. One's 42,370 and one is 41,195.
Which was which? H?
Fairfield is 42,370.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yep. Clive's is 41.
Thank you.
It's just like Christmas morning.
I know, I was thinking the same thing.
This is
That's just the
Body.
equipment.
Is that
okay.
the Tenco one?
Yeah, Tenco's pretty much in the ballpark of those other two.
Okay,
This is body only is Tenco, right?
Yeah.
yep.
What do you have?
Well, 40,809, and then if they've got a couple different options that would add, 6,815.
Goes from one sheet to a whole booklet, huh?
Yeah.
I
The
have-
bodies are a little more, yeah, they're pretty, basically about the same between the companies.
I have a bid here from Clark's Truck Center for a 2016 International 4x2 for $90,785 with a $20,000 trade-in for a purchase price with trade of $70,785.
Okay. They actually, we didn't invite them to bid. They found out about it from a body dealer who had called them. And when they said they were going to send it in, I said, well, you can send it in anyways. It was just a matter of, I was personally, I would like to try something different than international this time. But I told him he's welcome to send it in and the board can, decide after they see it.
Right. We've been having some trouble with international.
So I understand.
Yes. Did anyone find anything on the Mac?
It looks like it's $108,950, but I'm still trying to figure out if that's accurate. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but then there's a price here of 175, so,
We'll definitely make a spreadsheet,
yeah.
make it all,
I'm pretty sure that the Mac is 108,950.
yeah.
And do they give you a trade-in figure on
I
that?
don't see one, no. No, well, I haven't yet, they may, I just, because we had a guaranteed buyback with the Mac, right?
Right, it was, yes, I'd have to look.
It's probably in here, I just haven't got that far.
Did we have, Viking right there? Okay, those are the ones that, Viking, Tenco, and Fairfield. We just don't want to lose anything, that's all. Okay. It'll be pretty interesting anyways.
The buyback program is in here. It looks like they're giving us 25,000 for our existing.
Yep. McDivitt Mac actually owns, or I think they own L&B. So they usually on the trade-ins, they do the same.
Oh, L&B would do the same thing? a
Right, the
guaranteed
same
buyback?
price, or the same price.
Oh, so-
Yeah, L&B I think's got a guaranteed buyback in
Oh,
there too.
wow, okay.
Yep, yep. We had asked for it, and that's where you get the cheaper trucks will be less of a buyback than
Right, yeah. that
than a
Mac,
better
right,
truck.
yeah.
I didn't see Peterbilt though. Did
I
you?
didn't either.
No,
Did
no,
you get
no.
hold? did you-
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. They sounded
didn't
like
get
they
it.
were gonna work on
Okay.
it, but they never came
Never
down and
did.
looked at the.
Okay,
But
as long as we ask them, that's
Oh,
all we
yeah.
can do.
yep. A couple of the things that we are doing. We got all the snowbanks pushed back away from the ditches with the wing with the grader. So we took that off the other day, and hopefully spring is coming. Wood for the town clerks is complete. Wood for the shop. We've got most of it. We're just working on making sure, getting a little bit more. We're going to start doing some spot grading. We have quite a few potholes out there. It's just a matter of if you start too early, they could turn into more mud. So we're kind of, and with this weather coming, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But the Renard brother walk around that we were supposed to do was canceled, and it was because of Renard really didn't want us walking around there with Steve without them present. They felt that they should have a representative there, and with all the snow, we thought it was best. So I did give Steve a call and let him know. So, and we'll see what comes about the whole situation. But Renard's lawyer did think that it is between them and Steve. It's just a matter of yeah.
Right, this is Steve Zalu's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So that was about all I had.
Okay. Well, that section of Kipling Road where you put the drain tiles
Yep.
along the side, that usually about this time of year is getting soupy.
Yep.
It's really holding up well.
Yeah, and Beaver Pond Road, we did a lot of work there right at the intersection of Jelly Mill.
Mhm.
And so far, so good there too. It's just a strange year too. Every year is strange, it seems like. I'm hoping and praying.
Yeah. It's a little early, probably
Yeah.
to really tell, but
Yeah.
Thank
So far we haven't
Yeah.
had really anything. Maybe a little bit on Sunset Lake Road towards the north, going towards Williamsville.
Mhm.
It's got a little bit, 6-inch ruts in a 100-foot section there. But other than that, so far so good.
It's quite a job.
Under drain, just keep putting under drain in every year. That's all.
Yes, it seems to work well.
Yep. Any other questions? Or?
Any other?
Nope. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we have on our agenda to approve the annual highway financial plan for the Agency of Transportation, but they are sending some representatives over next week to have a little chat. And so we'll hold off on that until our next meeting. And they're going to talk with Lee and so we'll hear more about that later, I guess. Under correspondence for information, is there anything there that strikes your fancy? Okay. Then moving on, we have nothing under our correspondence for discussion or action. Unfinished business, we have some appointments and reappointments. And everyone was doing their homework. I did get the okay for you to be the police liaison.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's all right.
That way they can keep an eye on me better, you mean? I wondered why they were stopping at the sugar house so often.
But let's see, I wonder if, let's see, I thought we were going to have.
Lori must have a new printout that she's
She
getting
must.
us on all the
She must.
ones that
And
agreed
she's-
to reserve.
Do you all want copies of this?
Yes, please.
Sure. Okay. Well, there are two people so far for a slot on the Conservation Commission. Dana Aquadro is not interested in continuing. Jonathan Royce has expressed interest, and usually we'll have just a short 10-15 minute interview. People ask some questions before a regular meeting, and we could have a talk with Jonathan at our next meeting. And on the DRB, Cami Elliott has expressed interest in becoming an alternate. And we could schedule her for our next, just before our next meeting. That's it.
And just to say that I already mentioned this to Zeke, but unfortunately I have a pre-scheduled work commitment to be in Seattle on April 1st, so I will be missing that meeting. Apologies.
Okay. So, if you're okay with scheduling those two people for, starting at 5:30 next April 1st.
Right, because you have a Board of Abatement at 5:15.
Yeah,
Right?
so we can just move to our interview at 5:30 and then 5:45. And
Do you want me to get in touch with these folks?
sure, would you please?
Sure.
Good. Okay. So here we've got our cheat sheet, and how do you want to go down through this?
I was just trying to figure out which ones we hadn't already.
You haven't done any of these yet?
Any starting with Ruth Barton would be the first one we start with then, right? Because we did the road foreman, first constable, and animal control, or not? I
Yeah,
had
you
to.
did all that.
Yeah.
All the people on this list are the ones that need to be,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. So,
So can we just make one motion
I
to
think-
approve all the people that have agreed to continue to serve, and if so, I'm doing so.
I like that.
okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, now we can discuss it. Any discussion about any of these?
Do you want to just read down through it so that it's...
Sure. This would be Planning Commission, Anna Marie Poulard. Okay. Planning Commission, Cindy Wilcox. Development Review Board, we have Alan McBean, Patty Wallier, and those are the two that we've heard back from so far. We'll interview Cammie Elliott at our next meeting. Conservation Commission, Bill Johnson would like to continue. Dana Aquadro will step down, and we'll interview Jonathan Royce at our next meeting. Okay. Housing Advisory Commission, we're just leaving that blank, I guess.
They didn't respond.
Yeah. Energy Committee. We have Larry Doucette is interested, and then we'll have 2 openings. Jerelyn Wilson is not going to continue, and Bill Conley's not going to continue. So we need to find a couple energy, but the committee's probably looking.
We've been looking for a year and a half for new people, and we've reached out to neighbors and friends in the community and have not gotten. So we were, hoping that somehow the select board would have some suggestions for
Sure.
either particular people or for ways in which we could solicit some volunteers.
Have you asked Suzanne Weinberg?
She was on the committee in the
on
beginning
for
when
a
it was
couple of
initially,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we could ask her to join again.
Hugh Warden wasn't going to continue on the cemetery committee, but Lori and I had a talk with him in a couple hours just in the vault, and he changed his mind.
Come around.
So,
You really pressured him then, didn't you?
well, he's a valuable member of that committee. I didn't feel like we could lose
Yeah,
him.
he's valuable to the town,
Yeah. So,
And we never, the Energy Committee never replaced Sam, so actually
So
there are
there are
3
openings.
openings for the Energy Committee.
all right. Well, we've got some openings posted on the website, right?
Right, the Energy Committee
Yeah.
openings, but I can change that to say there are 3
Yeah.
open seats.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll do that. So right now, just Larry Doucette returning.
But there are terms that aren't up this year, so, Alex Wilson is continuing to serve, and
Yes.
as is Smokey
These are just the
Stanhow.
ones that
Yeah,
are.
Right.
These are just ones that we have to.
Okay, yeah.
That are up for either reappointment or
Right.
going down the list. Ruth Barton for Ware of Coal as Senior Solutions Representative.
She did not want to lose the position of Ware of Coal.
Well, another valuable,
Yeah.
resource.
I think
for
she's
our-
been really busy keeping up with that.
How does that one pay?
It's same pay scale as our inspector of wood and lumber.
And then the fence viewers too?
Yeah. Well, no, they're Ruth is.
It's a different pay grade?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ruth is Ruth. So, Michelle Sherrier and Lester Dunkley have offered to continue on as our Wyndham Solid Waste Management District representatives. The aforementioned Hugh Warden, Terry Chapman, Sylvia Forret, and who else? So we have another cemetery committee person.
On the
Oh.
second page,
Lee Chamberlain.
you reappointed him last meeting.
Oh yeah, okay. Janice Duke. Okay, so we have a full slate returning to the cemetery committee. So far, Farmland Protection Committee, we've only heard from Bill Schmidt.
Nelson Jilson's on the second page.
Second page, all right. I stand corrected.
And Jack Mann.
And Jack Mack, so 3 so far. 3 returning members. So, I understand they have a meeting coming up in a week or 2.
A week from tonight.
Yeah, so,
I did hear back from Vern, Sorry, Lori, I didn't get you that information. Vern Grubinger is willing to serve.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll add him
But I
to our
haven't heard,
list.
I haven't heard from Reed Miller, who I called.
Okay, so we'll put Vern down as a yes. Okay, going down. Pound Keeper, we have two of those, Mr. Ferret and Dr. Speck. Mr. Ferret's willing to continue on as our Inspector of Wood and Lumber. There's Ron Speck there as Pound Keeper. Dan Marks, Connecticut River Joint Commission. That's a group that meets under the auspices of the Wyndham Regional Commission, and they're concerned with the Connecticut River. So we have one opening on there. If you know of anyone with an interest in the Connecticut River, they have about 4 meetings, I think, usually about 4 meetings a year. The Town Social Service Officer, Rita Ramirez, is interested in continuing. We have under the Social Services Advisory Committee, Rita Ramirez again, Cindy Jerome, Susan Lucher.
Lecter?
Thank you.
Okay.
Sarah Ryan, Gail Sorensen, John Summer, and Bill Pels Walsh so far. I think we can have up to 10 people on that committee.
I think historically we've always had 7,
Oh, really?
I think, but
Okay.
I'm not positive.
Huh, for some reason I can see 10 faces there, but maybe I'm not right. Fence viewer, Harold Newell would like to continue, and he'd like to continue as our representative to Rescue Inc. Nelson Gilson would like to continue on as a fence viewer. And that's all we have right now. And
Jack as
Jack
the,
is community development.
yeah.
oh, where did I?
Program.
Yes, community development.
I think you got him on the farmland.
Yeah, farmland. And what else? Oh, Police Advisory Board Liaison, Steve Glaybeck.
Oh, and the E911 contact person, they're recommending Pam McFadden.
Yes, okay. Douglas Hamilton, stepping back into an advisory role for that position.
So could I amend my own motion and add Vern and Pam
Sure.
to this because we didn't have those on the list?
And I have a couple more that didn't make the list. I've been out of
Oh, boy.
town.
Oh
Okay.
boy, you've been holding up.
Maybe
Sorry.
maybe I better
my
wait for my
cards,
friend.
yeah.
Maybe you better make the friendly
Go
amendment.
ahead.
Yeah, I'll make another amendment then.
All right,
So we've added Vern and Pam already, right?
Mhm.
And you.
and you.
And me, okay.
And I'd like to add Lou Sorensen from the Wyndham Regional Commission, who's agreed.
Yeah, good.
And I would like to add 2 to the Recreation Board, who I heard from was Ellen Name and Molly Stoner.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
So do we need a second on Gooterdam's amendment, or friendly amendment, right?
Sure.
Second that.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, so we have a slate of people who would like to serve on these town committees and positions. Is there any discussion, further discussion? All right. Hearing none, we'll go to the vote, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
So Lori, we can, next week, we'll get or a couple weeks, we'll get a whole new printout of this, can I?
A whole new printout of people who still need to be.
No, well, no, because I've been notes on the side about all the people that have agreed, and
Oh, sure.
would you do that? Thank
Yep.
Pam, Steve, Lou.
Okay, so we still have,
Oh,
there's still
that's,
some,
A few
Farmland
yeah.
protection.
yeah.
Right.
So a few recreation,
Right, and I had
Yeah.
put a list in there, everyone's individual lists of people that still needed to be heard from.
okay.
I think Steve's list was done, Zeke's, your list was done.
Okay,
I've got a few left.
okay,
Right, and
I do
Bruno
too.
has a few.
Mhm.
Mine
Yours
was
is-
done.
Yours is done.
okay. So, all right. Well, keep at it.
Okay.
And we'll keep going through this. And anyone, if you come across anyone you might think might enjoy being on the Energy Committee or the
DRB,
DRB, Planning Commission.
yeah, there's still one.
Yeah, there's still an opening on the Planning Commission. Just give him Lori's phone number, day or night, anytime. She's a very dedicated person. So, let's see, where'd my agenda go? Did you?
No, this
Give
is
that
my
to you.
phone.
Here's an extra.
Oh, here, so I've
Oh, no, he has
got one.
notes on there, good.
Okay, so new business. Oh, here's one of my favorite things. Set a date for the goals work session. And we usually meet in between regular meetings, maybe for an hour or so. And this is a time when we can sort of plan out our goals for the coming year. Goals and agenda and things we might want to accomplish or start working on, or ideas that we might want to explore. Just thinking of myself, I think we need to maybe revise the animal control ordinance that we have. We have some holes in it, I think, that we might want to look at. So, things of that nature. I had a whole list, and what I have to do is just remember to write it down when I think of them. So, if you can be thinking of these, and so setting a date. Let's see, April 8th is a Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And that's in between. If we wait too long, then we've lost time, and it will be time to start working on the budget again. So,
Perish the thought.
yeah. So, how's the 8th?
Sure.
It's good.
Yeah. How's that?
8th of April?
Yes. How's your?
Looks good to me.
You think you'll still be sugaring? On
I hope so. Boy, I hope so. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. How? And for a time. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock
It's
work.
fine. Fine with me.
Okay. 5 o'clock. April 8th for our goal session. So, be thinking of all the goals that you might want. And traditionally, most of the work to be done in the coming year falls to the new member of the board. So, you can be as
Thanks for the heads up, Zeke. I appreciate
well,
that.
yes. So you can be as ambitious as you want with these goals. Okay. Well, is there any other business that we need to discuss? Or
No,
come
move
before
me
this
adjourn.
board?
Second.
Usually I drag this part.
No,
out a
I'm not
little
gonna
bit
let you, it's time to go home.
longer. Well, okay, well,
There's a motion and a second. We haven't
Yes.
voted yet, right?
all right, well, we can have some discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.